Welcome back to the OUC Nationals Gauntlet. My name is Jake Hysterix, Aussie Penko, and this is Jimmy Preacher Fu with me as always. And we are going into second versus third today with the next run of the Gauntlet.
Oh my God. QUT coming up strong from yesterday.
Yep.
They 2-0'd RMIT, who were the favourites from the very first round.
Yep.
And now they get to verse Western Sydney University. I am excited.
Of course, RMIT came through, Preacher, 2-1, the reverse sweep. The dream was there, but then QUT jump on in and start pummeling down, and they played exceptionally yesterday.
Well, I don't really think that it's pummeling, but rather what I would say is they did it in decisive fashion.
Okay.
First game, they fell behind. They managed to play it cool, calm, and collected, bring it back. Second game, they pummeled.
Exactly right, but it was a really big journey for these guys, and coming through. The standings at the moment, Preacher, they're kind of where they should be.
Oh, but you know, if you say that, then you're sort of predicting the future. Are you a gambling man? I'm not, because I honestly can't tell when we get to the top tier of the brackets.
No, but of course, going into the bracket game today, Western Sydney University will be taking on a best of three against the challengers of QUT. The winner going into the grand finals. Preacher, UWA are going to be a hard opponent, but first you have to look at this game and say who we are expecting to topple.
Well, before we even came into this, when we were looking at the Gauntlet initially with the initial seedings, you could have taken a look at this matchup and said, well, it's 1-1 apiece at the very least from the regular Gauntlet, from the regular round robin, sorry. But looking into this one, QUT is just in such fine form, so you really can't split the hair.
Exactly right. And second versus third, this is the big matchup. This determines, again, who goes into the grand final on September 9th, live at Riot Studios. A big opportunity for these guys. This game, this series, I should say, is big for Western Sydney University because they haven't versed anyone yet. They're coming through. Of course, they have played the round robins. They have performed, and I think they've put up a really good fight. But QUT, after yesterday, showed that they have a really good side, top of the map.
Yeah, but you also got to consider this. QUT, they've already played Western Sydney University. This is their warm-up, if you so will, before they actually make it to the finals, if they do.
As we do jump into game number one, Preacher, I want to come back to top side of the map for QUT. You got Techie, you got Flick. Unspecialized had a very good day yesterday as well.
Amazing day.
Stole a Baron with an Orianna Shockwave. I mean, that starts it off.
That's just a little bit of hype, isn't it? Just a little bit.
I think so.
Yeah, just a bit.
But
I quite liked it.
I think, honestly, it was just incredible to see. And QUT putting on their dancing shoes yesterday. Feint stepped up as well. So WSU cannot take these opponents lightly. Preacher, Champion Select has been crucial here because the Maokai has been a pick or ban priority.
It's been huge, but looking over it yesterday, it was actually surprising not too many teams first rotated. I mean, I'm not just talking about blue side. I'm talking about blue and red side. There was some specialized games in which even red side left it open for second rotation blue. And that sort of blows your mind when you think about the importance of Maokai, the strength of Maokai that he brings to 5v5 team composition. So I hope that both of these two teams, if it's not banned away, prioritize
because we know that Flick can play it and Flick will play it. On boosted account, Joe's been playing a lot of Sejuani. Like, this is the other thing, you know, the A-tier junglers, the S-tier junglers, and what we can do to pick a flex up. WSU have the opportunity because Sejuani's taken away. Obviously, you expect the same.
Yeah, of course. But looking over at the other side, I really do like that. Sejuani is extremely strong, and also the fact that Joe has been playing a whole lot of it. You know, it's a double whammy where you're sort of like, it's meta and also it's a targeted ban, so 2-1.
The priority on Janna, though, is going to leave the Maokai wide and open, and I expected them to lock this in.
That's really strange. I mean, sure, there are a lot of arguments to say that Janna is extremely strong, and I agree with that. Do you want Janna in your team composition? Of course, but first pick worthy, that's left up to question.
It has been changing around. I mean, the Maokai is still, we know, so good, and as that gets locked in, I mean, there is a lot that QUT can do here. Yes, the Galio's taken away, the Jarvan as well. There is a lot of frontlines still open, and we have seen the Gragas being another one of those priorities.
I actually quite like how the Jarvan was banned away very early on. We saw Tekka perform massively on it because it is, of course, one of his champions. You naturally have to assume that Maokai's going into the jungle for Flick.
Yeah.
But they could still be playing mind games because both these two players have had OCS experience playing in the top lane, playing the Maokai meta.
I mean, leaving the Lulu open also gets picked up, so another strong pick. But straight away to the Tristana with a Kog'Maw being able to get picked. A Kog'Maw yesterday, which went out of control. I think for QUT so far, the pick and ban phase has been very kind to them. They will get a bit of priority, but it looks like the Talia coming back into resurgence for WSU.
Yeah, that's a very nice pickup because they don't want the mid laners to get banned away. But speaking of getting banned away, QUT, now they need to pick the ADC because if they don't, then it's going to be the focal point of Western Sydney University's second rotation bans. hyper carries might be the way to go. I would have preferred to see the Cork more. However, Jinx has also performed massively.
From one hyper carry to another, right?
Of course, it's just a late game scaling, but Jinx actually has a very decent early game, it's not too bad. She has a very nice scaling curve as opposed to Kog'Maw, who just does nothing and all of a sudden ramps up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a very nice pickup.
Yeah, no, the Tristana versus the Jinx, another hyper carry versus hyper carry. The meta's gotten very exciting. And I love how now we're actually not seeing the old... I mean, yes, again, you will just farm up. There's a little bit more action between Jinx and Tristana, especially because that matchup, Jinx usually should be fine, shouldn't she?
She should, but when you're taking a look at the context of a Tristana as well, with two Ardent supports who are going to be more buffing your ADCs than in the action themselves, Tristana has the early game laning advantage. So when we're talking about straight 2v2, the satchel charge, the natural E that you get to put on the enemy, just means that your auto attacks are valued so much more. And on the other side, Jinx is somebody who takes way too long to ramp up her minigun to start getting the auto attacks. As soon as you max out the bomb, you can just jump away, disengage the whole situation.
But who's good at getting people ramped up and getting them into that late game stage? Maokai, Lulu. Yeah. I'm seeing on the bottom, I'm seeing Renekton and Jace. I'm seeing these two early bans with champions that can snowball easily. And I like this. They're kind of setting up their top lane and the rest of the map. Orianna and the Syndra are the response. And now with this first pick, you can go ahead and pick away that top laner priority.
You could, or you could leave it to last. Yep, they'd naturally go for it because they want to leave their mid laner as sort of a counter pick, not only to the Talia, which is already on Western Sydney University, but also for the entire composition. I fear for Western Sydney University because what they need to do right now is they need to pick a lot of hard engage. That's something that they're currently missing. They're missing. They do have a whole lot of roaming potential in terms of their team composition, but the one downside is that if you leave all of that open, which NAR still does, so they need to pick something nice here, then it might enable something like a Corki to completely counter the Talia.
Exactly right. No, I like that you put that out because, the Corki is available for them, right? They pick up the Corki, the composition feels strong. Feels really strong. Let's just use a simple word.
Feels strong, man.
Why is Mundo locked in though, Pressure? Is that a thing? Is that a Mundo jungle? That's a Mundo jungle. Or a NAR jungle.
No, it's a Mundo jungle. I'm going to be absolutely honest here, Hysterics. My job is to be the intelligent guy, the smart guy who's giving you a whole lot of context. But I can't onto the Mundo, so let's talk about the Lucian. Another good ADC in the mid lane means you get to bully out the mid lane. It also means that it's going to be very AD stacked in terms of late game damage on the side of QUT. The magic damage primarily the base of both Gragas and Maokai, which is not too high, so they have to watch out for that one. But still, with the picks, with the magic damage on auto attacks, they should be fine for supplementary magic.
Okay, so honestly, yes, it is a Mundo jungle from boosted account. Now, let's think about how this is going to work, right?
Okay. So I'm thinking. The cogs are turning.
So you start with red.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, you do. You start with red. Okay. You don't go to Raptors, though, do you? You get the whirly thing. I don't play... I don't play Mundo.
I am going to theorize, but for all of you at home, you better take this with a huge grain of salt.
Literally a sack of salt.
Yeah, because I don't know. I have no idea. Get the whole family pack, the 1 kilogram extra special with the extra on top. Anyway, so practically, Mundo, he starts with the whirly thing.
No, you start with Cleaver if you start with red.
No. Because what you do is, you start with W, you go for the Raptors, you get the super leash onto your red, go smite your red, go back to the big chicken after you've eaten all the popcorn ones, go up to your blue. Does he even need blue? Who knows?
No, he doesn't go blue. Maybe he just goes wolves, go to Scuttle, get level 3. And then we go top.
The best case scenario for this, and I don't really want to break Joe's strategy by giving a little bit of foresight into this, but the best strategy is
probably
just
wrong.
Get red, hopefully track out your enemy jungler, especially if they start on the top side, and meet them at their blue and just try to duel them 1v1.
That's the best. Mundo early, the health damage on Cleaver.
Yeah, Cleaver is insane early on. Yeah, and also the base damage for its minimum damage is actually quite significant.
And the masochism, the E, the extra AD now as well.
It also gives you some magic resist. Every single time you take any damage at all while your E is while you got your E on, you get another tick of magic resistance. So if you're going against a Maokai or a Gragas, regardless of which one goes into the jungle, they're still going to be resisted by you.
Yeah, I guess in theory it looks good, but at the end of the day, I'm still not too sure. I think the composition from WSU is very situational, though. So the NAR, this is the NAR engage, in all seriousness. The NAR engage is situational. You have to have Mega NAR, otherwise that ultimate, that big wallop, will not work.
Yep.
When it comes online, WSU could really execute this, but it is going to be hard to execute. We're on the side of QUT. That is not hard whatsoever.
No.
Maokai, Gragas, and then you have a hyper carry and 280 carries in total.
It's extremely consistent on the side of QUT. I don't really think it's going to be too much of a worry. But going back over to the side of Western Sydney, of course, it's going to be difficult. If Na doesn't have Mega Na, or even if he does and QUT simply dodges out on some fights until he goes back into Mini, then it's going to be a lot of trouble for them in terms of engage. The only real way that Mundo can be an engage is if you get something like a Righteous Glory and run right into people. But then again, you're wasting money on the mana on that item. So, yeah, it's a real struggle. I think that the Mundo came out specifically because of the Sejuani ban. Joe is a very huge Sejuani player.
He is.
And once you take away one champion from his pool, you find out that it's just a puddle.
But I know he plays Nidalee, though. Like, even a Nidalee here would have been great. Because, yes, the Na goes into the late game is huge, but there's so much more he could have done.
The only downside to Nidalee is that they would be missing a coherent frontline tank. If you had a Nidalee in the jungle and you had a mini Na in top lane, you literally have no tank.
That's true, because Na, it takes a while to ramp up as well. Black Cleaver normally goes Frozen Mallet. I mean, he can situationally
So you get a whole lot of HP, but you get no armor, you get no magic resist. That's extremely punishing.
I think on the side of WSU, we're going to have to see it in action. Seeing the classic barrier heal coming through as well. I think the barrier heal has been one of the most successful of the joys, except taking cleanse. But on the side, I mean, you're not really going to take anything. You're not going to take cleanse for anything except chompers.
Yep.
I mean, Maokai's stun. That's
you can simply run around chompers, so that does have a whole lot of outplay factor. On the other side, you've got the Maokai roots. That's pretty much the only thing that cleanse can go for. But if there's only one major threat, you could just build a QSS anyway, and barrier is naturally the best choice. I do honestly believe that heal is just simply the best of all cases on support, simply because when you get Ardent Sensor, it's an emergency. Oh no, my ADC doesn't have Ardent Sensor. How do I give it to him? Heal.
Yeah, there we go. 7 seconds of Ardent Sensor as easy as that. So picking up the Jinx instead of something like the Cogmore. I mean, is it just a run with this composition, a little bit more versatile?
Yes, because the one downside that Cogmore would have in this composition is the fact that Gragas and Maokai both go very deep. They chase and they don't stop chasing, especially with Gragas' ultimate. Sure, you could bust some people back to you, but you're not going to bust everybody back to you. Some people are also going to be busted away towards their side. So what you want on Jinx is the ability to take down one person, to get your passive, and to run forward to chase them and to catch up to them.
Yeah, whereas Cogmore would have to sit back and just throw out some moves.
Well, I don't think that he would ever be able to catch up. He's quite a slow champion.
The get excited is really underestimated as well. What is it, 40%?
Yeah, it's 40%. It's absolutely crazy. The movement speed, I think, is the biggest part of it. I think the real downside of teams that I've seen play against Jinx is when they try to defend a turret that's really low against Jinx, and they forget the fact that turrets give Jinx the get excited as well.
Right.
All of a sudden, they just get mowed down, and they're wondering, how did this ever happen to me? Why me in this instance?
All right, really go into like the depth and knowledge of why we're getting destroyed here, but the Jinx, the hyper carry, the double 80 carry comp have been run so well in the OUC so far. These guys fighting in the first best of 3 for them today, and the only best of 3 for them today. But the second one for QUT, after coming off that win yesterday, they have got to be feeling pretty good.
Exactly. I mean, coming up with a 2-0, just even the fact that you've got 1-1 in the regular round robin, the fact that you came up from a 2-0 must feel really good for you, because you have demonstrated that you can play from ahead and from behind.
Well, let's see how QUT fare today in Game 1 of this first best of 3 to lead into the grand finals to verse our reigning champions, UWA. QUT versus WSU. And there's a Mundo in the jungle.
This Mundo is going to be our focal point for this game, I believe. I think, especially in the early game, watching the way that he clears, watching whether he invades at level 2, that's something that we definitely need to keep an eye on as we see the first Drake that these two teams will be fighting over as an Ocean.
The Ocean Drake has really made an appearance over the past couple of days. We've had some...
Yeah, we're Oceania.
I mean, yeah, but Preacher the game doesn't know that.
No, yeah. The game is blind, just like love.
Just like Lee. Hey, Flick always plays this skin, though.
Every single time. You know why?
Why?
It's because he always dives deep. He does.
Perfect.
You know it.
Perfect. Scuba Grog is back at it again. We were talking about these compositions. We were talking about how important it is going to be for Beats, for Jace, especially for boosted account to run around the map with Mundo. But I think it will be on the back of Beats here. I think the Weaver's Wall going to be very important, making sure that Na has a simple laning phase, which shouldn't be too hard going up against the Maokai.
No, definitely not. I don't really think that Maokai should pose too much of a threat to him. Worst case scenario, you can always hop away from a brush that has an accidental sapling in it, so not too much is there to surprise Jace.
See, Mundo's actually started Raptors, and he's got the whirly thing.
Hey, I told you!
Yeah, all right. And he started E.
He didn't
got
get
E as well. So.
Yeah, he didn't get the Mega Leash. That's very unfortunate. But he did start what I thought that he would start. Now I want to see right after his red whether he goes into the enemy jungle or not. Now the upside of that is the fact that Flick started on the top side. So theoretically, if you guys are tracking this, you should know that Flick should be around the bottom side, especially considering that he got a massive leash from both Tekka and Unspecialized.
That's right, but we do want to keep an eye on boosted account because his pathing's very important here. He picks up red.
Yep. Goes topside. Probably wants the blue, although to be absolutely honest, I have no idea what the blue does. Of course it gives him CDR, but...
It's a level, Preacher.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of experience. It's nothing to be scoffed at. It's just not the most optimal buff for a Mundo.
It is still... it just makes me wonder why pick up the Mundo, why now? He must have been playing this... Must have been a bit of a solo queue.
I reckon that he's just a masochist.
Yeah. Like all Mundo players out there. He has reached level 3 first, though, so seeing a quicker clear coming out of the Mundo. He gets Scuttle Crab. He secures a bit more vision in that topside river, and he's back to the Wolves. Look at the Mundo. He hasn't got refillable potions, so this is something interesting.
Yeah, it's
it probably doesn't... I mean, you don't need it as soon as you have ult. And he has high HP regen as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I don't really think that it's going to be something that is going to be at the forefront of your mind if you're going into the middle of a team fight. Oh no, I better press a refillable potion considering the amount of health regen that Mundo gets, provided that the enemy was smart enough to use Ignite, which Iggy did bring, or anybody with Grievous Wounds, then it should just completely shut him down, and that item is more or less irrelevant. One thing that I want to talk about, though, is actually the interaction in the mid lane. Because if you take a look at both of their items, Lucian starts with 1 pot, Talia starts with 2 because of the different Dorans, as boosted account comes into top.
Okay, first Mundo gang. Tekka not going to burn anything just yet, and boosted account getting very low.
Yeah, he took so much damage from that one.
I mean, that's the thing. You get the whirly thing going, Preacher, and you start losing health.
Oh.
We're going to have to find out what that's called.
Yeah. I would really like a little bit of clarity in terms of what it's called. The
Burning Agony. That's it. You can see how much we play and see Mundo in the competitive scene.
Yep. It's a beautiful ability. It kills yourself. But here's the deal. Here's the deal with Mundo's E. You know how every single time you take a tick of magic damage, you get some magic resistance because of the E? That stacks with your own Burning Agony. That's very interesting.
Right, so you just get free MR when Burning Agony's on.
Yeah, you get free MR when Burning Agony's on. It ticks even higher when the enemy hits you with an ability. It's a pretty cool champion. The only downside is literally his downside every single time, regardless of patch, which is he has no dashes.
He just walks. That's all he could do, and he kills himself.
There's a reason why the meme is Mundo goes where he pleases. It's because he just doesn't care.
Or he just doesn't go anywhere. It's the irony of it all. He has actually had a quicker clear, so this is good for the Mundo. He's made an impact top, so far boosted account doing okay, and I think the Mundo, we're really expecting him to try and impact that top side again. I mean, he's done actually one of the quickest clears I've seen in jungle in a while.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. The only downside is I don't really think he has much gank potential, because if we take a look at his lanes, you pretty much need to have a whole lot of CC in order to really enable the ganks coming out from Mundo. Top conditional. Jace needs to be in Meganar form in order to really have the wallop for the CC. In mid lane, if Beats misses his shove, then he doesn't have any CC. And bot, there's just no chance for Mundo to roam down there.
Flick is waiting for this minion wave, but Beats is already back. So that was, I mean, again, opportunistic, but...
I actually quite like how he waited for it. I don't really think that he was trying to kill Beats, because Beats was a little bit too high for the rotation from Flick. Rather than... I think he was just standing there to make sure that Beats back so he could take the wall safely. So he manages to counter jungle that very nicely. And in stark comparison, boosted account, also known as Joe, also known as Mundo, he hasn't got anything.
No. He goes back, he gets Bammy Cinder. This is classic Mundo 101.
So he burns while he burns.
Yeah. Burning Agony with Burning Cinder. Works out in the end.
It's not quite what it's called. I'll go with it. No. I'll roll with it.
I mean, I called it whirly thing before. Like
Whirling fire.
Whirling fire of death. Mundo.
Oh.
They changed Maokai's skill names.
Yep.
Why can't we change Mundo's?
Because they didn't fundamentally change in how they work.
Well, I mean, like, his E they did.
Yeah, they added a mechanic onto it, but it still does pretty much what it does before. Here's the actual one cool thing that I like about Mundo's E now. You max it second as opposed to W. Before, you used to max W because it just increases your DPS. It was one of the most optimal ways to get damage down onto your enemies. But now you actually max it last because that way you can more or less late game have it permanently up. It means that you can pretty much just burn without taking too much HP for yourself while ticking up your MR.
He's level 5 now. He's walking down to the bottom side, which is not something that he can just walk into lane with. Meanwhile, Beats just sitting off in this mid lane, trying to poke out the Lucian, but Unspecialized doing a great job so far on this Lucian. You expect the poking to be mainly coming from him, with Beats trying to find those windows and trading.
He's already got the Vampiric Scepter, so regardless of what, provided that he could dodge out on the shove, he will always come out ahead on trades against Beats. I don't really think that Beats has enough AP to straight out 100-0 him, so that is the punishing factor for this mid lane. Rather than that, Beats should look to hard shove out, make sure that Unspecialized goes back for a buy, and then roams. Because that is the power of Talia. She's already level 7. We should be watching for these Weaver's Walls.
It's all about the placement of these circles, and you can see right now he has to sort of veer off, and we've seen in the past a lot of Talias leave the center of that lane open, so that worst case scenario, if they get engaged upon, they're usually in the middle of that lane.
And they will always have that backup in order to use their Q in order to maximize their Stone Weave. Yes?
No, it's not. Don't ask, because
Threaded Volley.
Threaded Volley.
There we go.
Because I know Seismic Shove, something about rocks, and then Weaver's Wall, right? It's just Talia's... Like, I know other abilities, right? Like Arcane Smash, Twisted Advance, Sapling Toss,
and Ultimate.
Nature's Grasp.
Nice. Oh, here we go. Flick.
The Burning Agony, Preacher, Masochism. Using the Weaver's Wall coming through. In all seriousness, we have to look at boosted account positioning, but unexpected on the back. Mundo, for some reason, got first blood.
Oh,
Not sure
flash.
how that happened. NL Beats is over the wall. They're on the wrong side of the rift.
Here we go. NL Beats. He's getting low.
The flash forward, piercing light from Unexpected is fantastic, but now the Mundo really does go where he pleases. Looking for his second kill. Takes a turret shot, though. And that is really going to be the agony he suffers.
All right, so let me break that one down for you. Pretty much what happened at the start was boosted account managed to 1v1 Flick because he got challenging smite on his actual jungle upgrade. That means that you take less damage coming from Gragas. You do true damage going on to Gragas. It really does amplify his ability to duel, which is really what Mundo looks for. He has infinite slows in the form of his cleaver, so really all he needs is the dueling potential. And above that, you got to take a look at NL Beats. The fact that he actually died because he went way too close to Unspecialized is a real downside for him, because it gave Unspecialized 2 kills off of the back of that.
Exactly right. The counterplay coming from Unspecialized will put him 2 kills ahead, and look at that. Early gold lead for this Lucian. And for QUT, looking comfortable with about 1,000 in the lead. Even though Booster did get first blood, even though that Mundo does find himself Cinderhulk, I mean, he's going to have to start really impacting this map, because the mid lane is now ahead. It's going to continue to push.
And the downside of Mundo getting that first blood is, while he may finish his Cinderhulk, that item by itself is not a power spike, as there's a Scuffle.
Now he has max cleaver, so you're going to see the bulk of that damage coming through, as one will miss, and the rest of bottom lane rotate up. QUT on point in this early game.
There's one other downside of the build that boosted account has gone for. Now, you might be asking why. His first item is Cinderhulk, he might as well rush it, right? Well, he actually only got boots of speed. He didn't actually get boots of swiftness, which is really unfortunate, because that is one of the upsides of Mundo, being able to chase people down. But because he was a little bit down on money after the Cinderhulk, all he gets are brown bags on his feet.
I mean, they actually look like boots, but brown bags, that works too. Beats is still losing out on this trade, and look at this. Unspecialized going in, the culling. Max range achieved. Unspecialized will hit Beats out, but he's staying around.
The one upside of Unspecialized Lucian, as opposed to other Lucians that we've seen in the OUC, is the fact that his culling angles are actually so good that a lot of other Lucians, especially in the mid lane, they don't think about the future of the culling. They simply think, oh, I'm pointing towards the person, I'll just use my ultimate in that direction. They don't think about the other person using terrain in order to block out your culling. But the fact that Unspecialized use it sort of as a zoning tool to stop people from moving anywhere and to get the maximum damage down possible is so smart.
Preacher, I want to point out QUT's bottom lane, who are actually winning by about 20 CS. All of the map right now for QUT looking very, very stable. A Jinx that has BF Sword and is so far up. And as soon as this Ardent Sensor comes online, it is going to be a very scary AD carry.
It's quite a worrying trend down there. I think it's delayed a little bit because Iggy did go for the Sightstone as opposed to the Ardent Sensor Rush. Now, there is a little bit of merit to usually getting Sightstone, but in this example, I don't think that it's the most optimal strategy, simply because when you take a look at the two junglers, they're not exactly the ganking duo. It's pretty much Mundo trying to find fights in the jungle.
Like
and
this?
And if there are ever fights, then it'll be in the jungle rather than him going to lane.
Boosted account, not sure what you're doing here. Beats is going to try and help out, but instantly, boosted account is way too low. Unspecialized kiting back. The Nars joined in.
Wow.
Looking for a simple double, and Jace may just find it. Tekka will find the trade, but it's onto boosted account, and now he's in a bit of trouble as Jace will soon go into Mega Gnar. He's bopped back. Gnar comes out, and Tekka flashes over.
So that's going to even up the score to 3-3, but pretty much that was instigated by boosted account. The fact that he actually managed to use his ultimate, tried to furiously track down Unspecialized the side of his own jungle. Hey, what are you doing here? Get!
Tekka's in a bit of trouble now as well. The minions will clear, and Beats picks up a free kill under the Maokai.
That was a little bit strange. There's not a whole lot of reason for Tekka to be there. He was pretty much just trying to defend the wave, trying to clear the wave, get some CS for himself while Unspecialized was down, running back to his lane. But he gives up so much gold. So not only is this situation sort of like unexpected, you gave my lane a kill, well now I get to screw you over by giving your lane a kill.
I mean, that's fair, isn't it? Quid pro quo, Preacher.
Wrong.
Something he didn't need to do. And Tekka losing down, as well as that Gnar getting ahead. This was the same in the mid lane. When Unspecialized got those 2 kills, he started powering ahead. Jace now has 2 to his name. He has Black Cleaver, and he's going up against a Maokai with Righteous Glory. Yes, that's fine and all, but that Gnar is going to start shredding your base armor.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous as we see a fight in bot.
Great Wild Growth will find the knockup. Boosted account comes down. Double flash coming through. Flash out of feint. Will he survive? I don't think so. The damage from Burning Agony will secure, with the rest of WSU trying to chase through Iggy, but it will simply be the one.
Now, we actually got a little preview of what is to come for mid and late game team fights, as we actually see Beats going aggro.
Going in for the 1v2. Beats very aggressive. Boosted account to challenge the 2v2. Still winning for QUT. Unspecialized is out.
Yep. But he had to burn the culling, and pretty much all of it went to boosted account. One thing that I really want to point out, though, is... Ooh, nice flash.
Yeah, that explosive cask will force the summoner again. It's ult for summoner, so always going to be worth.
Yep.
Super Mega Death Rocket, it's no one.
Yeah, he was trying to aim that towards base, but still, he manages to find it. Here we go. Flick, you're going way too aggro. I don't know what you're doing there, buddy. Get out of here. This ain't your jungle.
But the question is, boosted account's always aggressive, so he's just doing... He's doing what the Mundo would do.
Okay, so one thing that I actually wanted to talk about in terms of boosted account was his keystone. He's opted to go for Stoneborn Pact, which means every single time he throws his cleaver and lands it successfully, his 1v1 potential goes through the roof. Not only does he do so much damage onto the enemy, he also gets so much healing for himself.
It makes sense.
It just makes sense.
So you're saying boosted account?
He made the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, okay. Fate knocked up again. The Tristana really popping off here. Great Monsoon. Might actually secure an early double. Beats will go down mid, but the response down bottom is so much better. Tristana with an early double, and that is going to be so good for the Trist.
But now we have to take a look at everything else that happens on the map. QUT managed to take down the first brick, and that actually gives them a small gold lead. So when everything is said and done, when you consider the bot lane 2v2 and also the fact that Sam can't get the turret in this next push, it's quite punishing for them overall, despite the fact that they managed to get kills.
Yeah, you're right. Feint is going to encounter Flick, and at least he's doing a bit of damage to the jungler of QUT, and Flick has to be careful here because the dive is still readily available. Preacher, I think the turret's going to go down in the end. WSU bring it right back.
Yeah, I don't really think that Flick can defend it, but other people can.
There we go. Rotation from QUT is fantastic. Teleport is so much earlier as Tekka will finish it off. Teleport responded from Jace. He's got to make sure that no one dies. Gnar jumps out. Only a quick root, and QUT will not follow up.
But now you got to take a look. Sem's going back, but the bot lane of QUT is not. They might be looking to break down this turret. Don't stand near a dying turret when Jinx is taking you down.
Especially when Tekka pops the Righteous Glory. He was ready to go in, but doesn't follow it up. Instead, it's going to be a simple turret take for QUT, and the gold has jumped right back in their favor, and this Ocean Drake could come into their lap as well.
Okay, so that was very smart of the side of Western Sydney University. Give up what they knew that they couldn't fight for. That turret was going down anyway. Jinx was going to be able to take it. But because they backed off so far, they just gave free priority over to the Drake.
And at least Tekka, I mean, like, he did fall behind. He did see in comparison to Jace, who has 2 kills. He's still able to do so much. That's the beauty of Maokai. He can fall behind. He can lose a couple of levels. But end of the day, he's always going to be strong.
But here's the deal. It's not even behind as NL beats his court.
Okay, Explosive Cask beats who he got to run to. Sizing Shove won't hit anyone. Another kill going over to QUT. But they're not done just yet. Boosted Counter's going to get body slammed. They're forcing the engage. How much health regen does he have? Not enough. Turn off the whirly thing. That's the problem here. Explosive Cask will destroy the Mundo. 2 already dead, with QT picking better engages.
No, Hysterics, you don't understand. I needed the MR. I swear it was the MR.
But it didn't make a difference. Feint was hitting him.
Of course.
End of the day, it is still QUT putting on the pace in this game, with the Hypercarry Jinx now having 2 kills instead of none. You got a Lucian mid. They're going to pick up this Rift Herald, and there is no way WSU have anything to say about it.
And the 2 kills actually gave Feint a gold lead over his rival in Sem. So this is very tricky grounds for the side of Western Sydney University. Mid-game is where Jinx shines, because that is the time when turrets are really being traded, turrets have really been taken on both sides. So when turrets are taken by Jinx, you got to steer clear. You got to take it.
When they're taken, you got to take it.
Yeah, when they're taken.
Rift Herald picks up 1. That is going to be the 3rd structure for QUT. Right now, WSU do not stand even 1 turret down. 2k gold lead is continuing to grow. This Rift Herald is going to get another full charge and even more chip damage. And they're controlling the top side of this map. After this clear, they're going to back off, and we're going to see second items across the board.
Yeah, they actually escort the Rift Herald just so they could get the second dash off. That's going to be a quarter of the health that the turret already chipped down, and that's nothing to scoff at, because when you consider the amount of damage that you could possibly put down per push when the enemy is defending it as a Jinx with rockets, you want to be able to conserve your mana so that you can use it on other abilities like your Super Mega Death Rocket and like your rockets in fights.
Those Super Mega Death Rockets have been on point so far.
Oh, I mean, hit or miss.
Look,
literally.
Yeah, literally hit or miss. When I say on point, the ones that have hit have gotten kills.
Of course, yeah. It's been really great to see from
And the others have missed.
Yes.
Yeah.
50-50. Well done.
I just wanted to do math for once in my life.
100% of them hit 50% of the time.
Sorry, you might have been talking about Mundo.
No, there's not too much to say about him anymore. I think that I pretty much maxed out my rants when it comes to Mundo. I've described his keystones, I've described his pathing, I've described his item builds. There's literally nothing more to say.
Preacher. However, look, I mean, WSU, I think it's still important that they're trading across the board. They are down, picking up structures for structures. They've now picked up 2, and they've broken mid. The question is how they transition into this mid game, considering that they got a Tristana who's 2-0. They got a Talia who has fallen behind, but still has close to that 2-item power spike.
Honestly, the answer is just pick out somebody from QUT. This is the point at which QUT is not moving as a 5-man unit. You can already see Unspecialized is moving towards the top side of the map, does not have TP for the split push. What you could do as Mundo is, while you don't have a coherent form of hard CC like a stun or a root, you can just throw your cleavers infinitely at him. He'll... it's going to be really hard for him to run away. Get the first kill over, make sure that Tristana can get the resets, and hopefully the other side collapse a little bit too late and you use the resets to your advantage.
Yeah, no, making a mistake from QUT, if WSU can pull this one out, then it is going to be a very different game for them moving into this 20-minute mark. As Baron spawns, we haven't seen too many early Barons. I think the 25-minute mark is where I capped it last time, Preacher, and it was more the case of, okay, we found a pick, let's rush this objective. And it was more from RMIT just making that decision, but I think in the past we've seen WSU make these split-second calls that have really defined their games.
And if there's no vision, then most certainly they can go for it, because that is the one enabling factor.
Yeah, no. Flick going to use his ultimate. Jace ready to come in.
Yeah, he can infinitely slow if he so chooses, unless he misses.
Boosted account a little bit late to the party. Jace still pushing up. They're just worried about clearing mid. And this is important for them because the turret's down, get a bit more pressure on the map, and they should be able to start securing more vision control in these rivers.
But one thing that you need to pay attention to is the fact that Tekka is down onto the bottom side. So if all of this goes for an infinite amount of time, theoretically, then Tekka is going to be the one who gets the advantage because of the EXP and gold.
Finding a quick engage, Flick will take the brunt of the damage, but it's not really enough to scoff at. Flick ready to go for the instant
Teleport.
re-engage.
Here we go.
Teleport on the back. Okay, so Tekka looking to make this engage. WSU don't know about it just yet, but suddenly an instant Maokai into the backline, finds a Tristana, the Weaver's Wall to cut them off. Fantastic ultimate coming through from Beats, locks off Tekka. He has to 1v3, but he's still not dying. Not enough damage as the flash is there. Jace forcing the engage further on. QUT have to get the heck out of there. The slows don't come in, but a close call as WSU will find the follow-up. And maybe, yes, Tekka will go down.
But now you got to be scared of this Tristana. She just got to reset on her W. You need to keep that at the front of your mind. If anybody gets chunked down on the side of QUT...
Jace, big flash forward, the Nah ultimate, the Wombo combo from WSU. This will put him back in the game. Jace will go down at the cost of it, but big shutdowns across the board. And the execution was flawless.
Not only that, but they're going for even more hysterics. They don't just want the kills, they want the turrets. Now they finally back off. One of the things that they should do is sack the jungle of QUT and also get as much vision down as they can on both Dragon and Baron.
But that big Nara ulti, 4-1, secures a quick double kill in retribution for WSU, who are now looking ahead and have option to secure this Ocean Drake to add.
Another huge thing that they might wish to go for before they decide to back and spend their well-gotten money is the bot lane. It's pretty much on one hit. A swift breeze can just blow it over, so Tristana should be looking towards that angle. But no, they actually decide to back, and the huge minion wave should be not enough to actually take it.
No, you just need to go up to it, take a seize, one or two, and then take it down, get that gold back into a bit of overdrive mode for WSU. They have struggled in this early game, but I think it has been the story of Jace and his execution so far.
Usually when we take a look at Nah, we always judge them, and the one judgment that we always have, coincidentally, even though they're different games, different players, is you didn't use your Mega Nah properly, you didn't zone with your ultimate, but man, Jace, that flash combo into the wall, 3 people, managed to get QUT, caught them with their pants down effectively, and just took them.
For 23 minutes in this game, we're still at more or less a standstill. With QUT, the story is they have to make the engage, but that Weaver's Wall controlled the pace of that fight. It controlled who was in that fight. Tekka was by himself. He got popped down, forced to use the summoner. The rest of QUT couldn't find the engage.
But it almost showed to Tekka that he was really good at the 1v1. Speaking of 1v1s, boosted account, you really going for this? Really, mate?
No, I mean, it's a Mundo Preacher. He can do anything.
You know, the sad thing about that is that you're right, you can. It's the dumbest part of it.
Hey, that's another Weaver's Wall. It's going to catch out Iggy, and great placement coming through for Beats to finish. That one pick on the support will ensure this top lane push does go ahead.
They should have timed Talia's ultimate to know that the Weaver's Wall was coming up so that they should be grouped as a 5-man unit. Consequence of not being grouped as a 5-man unit, they lose a member, they lose a turret. That is the pushing power of both of these ADCs, and when you give the pick over to Oceanic University, Tristana, a 3-0-3, she just uses it.
Yeah, the grouping makes so much sense to me. WSU moving as that unit means that QUT have no response here. Constantly getting caught out. And Iggy 0-3 and 2, but the Ardent Sensor, I mean, this is important. The Lulu has shown how close he is to Feist.
The only downside is that Lulu didn't take heal.
True. I think the summoners here are really important. We've gone back to standard flash and heal. Forcing another flash coming through is Flick in the mid lane.
No.
Tekka forcing the engage once again. Going to get a triple root. The Janna too far forward. This could be the comeback for QUT. A team fight was necessary here, but Nana finds another wombo. No follow-up this time. That's going to be the difference this fight. And WSU have nowhere to go but south of the wall. as 5 from QUT look to charge through and are looking like an army of undead.
You saw that Jace wanted to get the Wombo combo down, but because Kildeness was already down, because she had to use a Monsoon so early to save her own life, it meant that nobody was getting the Ardent procs, and over on the other side, Iggy was buffing everybody. Despite the fact that there was a 2-man Gnar into a 3-man Wallop, not enough.
Joe sitting on the edge there and waiting to flash in the Tristana. This is some heavy damage going on to Unspecialized. He goes into the pit, boosted account. No, the agony is real this time. As he goes in, he will find his life coming to a quick halt, and Flick ready to use his fat belly for something good. He goes over the wall and flashing forward. Tekka, I don't know how far you travel, but it's more than 500 miles here. Beats, gets Arcane Smash to the ground. He's not done. Tristana has to rocket jump away. Fear of death from Feint. It'll still be enough with the Baron going over to QUT and a couple of kills to follow.
Tekka walked 500 miles, and he definitely wanted to go 500 more. However, the rest of his team told him, whoa, Nelly, slow down. And he actually managed to disengage a whole situation 2-4-0. So that was overall an amazing play for the side of QUT. Not only do they manage to secure the Baron by not hitting it until they pretty much knew that boosted account was going down, but they also get the kills afterwards.
And I feel like boosted account there was a bit of a proclaimer, right? Like he goes into the pit, tries to steal the Baron. It was off by quite a bit. I feel like
yes.
Smites were off by even a bit.
Let's not sugarcoat it. It was off by a long way. It was off by about a fifth of the actual amount.
But this Baron, this forcing the Baron play after a couple of picks will mean that QUT pushed themselves right back into this game. It was looking like WSU grouping as a 5-man unit, but QUT finally switch on, and the whole of WSU kind of caught behind. And it is about this mid-game now. It's about who gets caught out next. And it looks like it is going to be the Tristana who gets knocked all the way back. I don't know how, Preacher, we're going to ask ourselves a question a little bit later. I think it was the explosive cast coming through. Iggy picks up the first one. Jace hasn't even gone Mega yet. Has to ult.
Here he is.
But he's gone Polymorph. Dead before you know it. 2 kills again.
That is the downside of a Gnar. If you don't actually get your Mega, if you don't get your ultimate off, all of a sudden you didn't have a huge impact on the map. Now we got to take a look at what QUT does with this one, because Beats has to back.
Forcing the engage. Mundo not tanky enough. Look at this. QUT are just demonstrating their versatility on this roster. And against WSU, who sat higher, who sat better, yes, at an equal standing. But QUT, baby, you can say they've warmed up because momentum is definitely on their side.
And they are looking hot. Because right now, after they take down the inhibitor, they go back to base. They're resetting their gold. They're spending it for themselves. And now, the real big question, as we need to take a small sit down and a breather.
A pause, actually, but continue.
Yeah, is to ask what exactly QUT does with this. Because you've got the minion shoving at the bottom lane. You got a dragon coming up in a little while. Baron's ages off. You don't even need to think about that.
You got a double 80 carry comp, right? So you're easily able to push down these turrets. Now, mid still has the inhibitor turret, I believe. I'm not sure about the inner tier. But look at top lane. I feel like top lane's next. Keep breaking the base, because with double 80 carry comps, it is so easy to siege. You have the ocean. You can revitalize. So we do jump back into game. Let's see where they go next.
And the smartest idea for them right now is to actually clear out waves when they are pushed towards them, go towards a dragon, take the dragon, then push the top side of the map. Because by the time that you've sieged through both of the turrets in top lane, by the time that you could have potentially taken the inhibitor, Baron would have respawned, and then you're in perfect position to go and take it.
Lucian can do this by himself, though, right? So you commit 4 people either mid and let Lucian take Dragon by himself.
Only downside is that he doesn't have teleport. So if all of a sudden Western Sydney University spot this out and fight
too much solo queue for me.
Yeah, a little bit too much.
So they go right down mid anyway. That is one rocket from Feint. My lord, they're just going to keep on going. They use a couple of ultis. It does not matter. Boosted account, struggling to heal this one back up. Inhibitor mid is going to be next on the menu. And as it goes down, the Baron buff is still in use, and we have another pause. Each inhibitor signals a pause and a remembrance day.
Yeah. So we just need to take a solemn second to remember those who were lost. All of the minions.
Yep.
Yep. In
Just
the defense
inhibitor.
of the minions.
I've done.
Yep. In
It was
defense
2
of the
inhibitors. It's 2 seconds. I'm done.
I know. Yeah. It was very quick.
But they'll respawn. So
In
do we
4
celebrate? We have a fiesta.
Woo!
All right.
But we don't have an Oriana, so there's no sombrero.
No, that's what else do you reckon we could do?
Not too certain. I mean, this is a League of Legends stream. I like getting paid, so not too much.
All I'm just here for the memes. We are going to be jumping into games shortly, however, so there is a quick pause, but there we go. Wow, it's like going to tell the future. Woo. This Dragon is now live. They've picked up 2 inhibitors. They've crushed the base, and instantaneously, QUT are just 6k gold ahead. They've definitely pulled the switch.
Yeah, and now they're finally trying to take down everything else that is possibly available for themselves on the map. Dragon, and a lot of their members are actually backing. So the real big question actually is, how much gold are they sitting on? And more specifically, what can they buy with this gold? Because it feels as if only a couple of minutes ago, they were already out of the base.
Yeah, that's right. So going back with no more than 1,000 in the pocket, QUT will get minimal spend out of this. But it does mean the Avarice Blade coming through, Preacher.
No, that's an Executioner's Culling.
Wow.
Wow.
How many metas am I behind?
Wow, that is like 2 seasons. It's back like when it built into Static Shiv, and we were all thinking Static Shiv is just a cheaper version of Phantom Dancer. What are you doing, Ryan? It's the same stats.
Yeah, but it gave gold. What was it, 8 gold every 2 seconds? No, 2 gold every 8 seconds?
Yeah, and also added a couple to every single CS.
8 gold every 2 seconds, man. New coin.
Oh, yeah, just get it on Jano. You get to get your Ardent Sensor even faster.
Coin, first black, Avarice Blade.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, it used to be in the build in Bankplank. You remember when you built all of the GP5s?
I remember old Gangplank where you walked up to someone and pressed Q and they just dissipated.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty good.
Well, right now we speak of dissipation, and Beats could be the first one, but WSU are not walking up. They are so scared to deal with this front line of QUT, because what follows up is going to be huge.
Tusk.
Great seismic shove, but they're still forcing the engage. The Ents marching 1 by 1 to the right this time, and the culling to come through, but the Redemption will heal them back up. Could be pretty good for WSU. A big makeshift defense. Redemption needs to come quicker, but Feint goes down. That's half the pushing power for QUT.
So we always have to take a look at who falls first on either side, and we've got to also take a look at the resets that are available for both of these 2 ADCs in order to propel themselves forward. The fact that Feint was the first person to die in all of that, despite the fact that 3 members on Western Sydney University got to within an auto attack's health, is actually really disappointing for QUT, because if they manage to keep Feint alive, if they manage to get the one last order they needed for the first initial kill, bam, 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 they all fall over like dominoes.
And getting caught out is going to be a big pain for QUT, because that Baron buff is now gone and has been for a bit. Next one will be up in 110. I can see that WSU should be able to contest this one as well, but it's all about placement. It's all about getting into that pit. And QUT, like we said, their front line have the ability to deal with them.
But the one downside of that is the vision. So right now it's being cleared out by Western Sydney University, but there is still one more ward in the jungle of QUT. So you know when they're coming. If you're on the side of QUT, you can plan for that accordingly. Over on the other side, Western Sydney University, best that they could do is a ward as close to the Baron as they could possibly get, which, funnily enough, is not very close.
But I mean, with supers streaming into mid and bottom, you'd have to think that WSU can go for this steal, or at least contest, but they're going to sacrifice quite a lot.
Yeah, because pretty much Jace has to be the defending member, and he doesn't have teleport. So right now, QUT can just do the Baron dance, pretty much just run around the Baron like headless chickens, waiting for both of the 2 lanes to push in. And when you know for certain that Jace is about to clear out the waves, go for the Baron.
And they finish off this turret. I mean, this is a really good move. That means the wave's going to push up. It means that the base is all that's left for WSU. With the gold continuing to climb and continuing to escalate, it's still QUT in the driver's seat. And still, now, Baron will be live, and they have an opportunity to bait this one out.
That is, of course, the next thing that we've got to take a look at. Of course, vision is the key when it comes to this Baron take, because there is just so many wards down on the side of QUT, but they don't even want it.
It's the inside track. I mean, the inhibitor hasn't even respawned in the mid lane. It will soon, but bottom lane is next on the agenda. Make sure there's so much pressure on the map. They're going to do this easily. Jace doesn't have Mega Gnar, not even close. They get out.
So now you got to take a look at how Joe fights this one.
Yeah, remember, don't listen to me. Maybe they don't get out. Jace is dead straight away. No Mega Gnar. Great explosive cast. Wombo combo, baby. Jinx goes into rocket form, hits some AoE. Lucian to go down. Already a triple kill. And that's how you execute a quadra kill of a team composition from QUT. An ace, and they make it look so good.
Oh my hysterics from the very first kill. Feint got excited, used her ultimate, got a couple more for good measure, and that was pretty much game over before Western Sydney University even knew it. Biggest problem? Nah, not having the ultimate.
QUT executed that flawlessly, however. They find Jace, it's instantly a 4v5. They then pull that explosive cask, Maokai to combo, and that front line, we talked about it. It is so swift, and it is unexpected.
And my favorite part about that was actually the part that they knew.
The fart.
No, let's look past that. You didn't hear anything. Was actually the part where they knew for certain that Jace didn't have teleport, was the fact that rather than going for the Baron, which at some levels you could conceptually think of as a 50-50 because it could be stolen away from Joe. They go for the 100% because they've got something to hit, which is the inhibitor. And over on the other side, there was absolutely nothing to take down. So it was very swift. They made a lot of good decisions, and they actually took the fights towards the enemy when they knew that there was no Mega Gnar.
I think we have to give some honorable mentions to WSU, though, because in this part of that early game, the Weaver's Wall, the Talia was doing so much work, and NL Beats, you can see here, actually did the majority of damage for his team.
So he might not have much love, but he has a whole lot of damage. That Talia was doing massive work with the Weaver's Wall.
Wow, that's 40k damage, Preacher. Yep. In a 30-minute game?
Yep, 32, 33.
If that, we're just throwing? Throwing? Pew, 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 pew. 40k damage. So much more than Fate and Unspecialized comboed. And I think the best bit is that Nah did more than Mundo. I mean, like, the Mundo pick.
Which is crazy to hear, right? Because Mundo took Challenging Smite. Yeah, he took Challenging Smite. Yeah. He got the 1v1 very early on because pretty much you challenge Gragas to it. He says, yeah, I'll fight you. Oh, wait, no, I don't do any damage.
It's literally Challenger,
Yeah, and all of a sudden he goes through the fights. Not only does he get the damage reduction, but he gets a health back from his Stoneborn Pact because of his cleavers. Whatever you could say about Joe's Mundo, you have to say he's a good mathematician because his theory's all right.
I love how you try to rationalize this Mundo pick. We're going to talk more about it afterwards, but ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a 10-minute break. When we return, WSU will be fighting QUT in Game 2 of this best-of-3 series to get into the finals gauntlet. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the OUC Nationals Gauntlet between second and third. My name is Jake Asterix, Aussie Penko. This is Jimmy Preacher Fu with me as always. I'll tell you what, after game number 1, QUT are looking comfortable.
They are looking way more than comfortable. I mean, that was just a solid performance coming out of them.
Exactly right. So what came through was it the Mundo pick, Preacher, that changed this all around in game 1.
Look, as ironic as it is to say, I actually think it was. They banned away the Sejuani because they did a whole lot of homework, funnily enough, being university students, and they figured out that booster account, also known as Joe, plays the Sejuani. Played it very well in both the round robin and also coming up to this one. So pretty much what they did was they banned it away and they found that he doesn't actually have another champ in his pool.
I mean, look, the Mundo was influential as well, but there were some really good moments from WSU, and I don't think it was all on that jungle pick. Beats played well, but up in the top lane as well, Jace had a massive ultimate, and WSU, for all intensive purposes, should have come back in here.
Yeah, so this is pretty much a Weaver's Wall, the divided Tekka. He gets taken down to about half his HP, which actually enables the next portion of this fight to happen. Pretty much Sam can jump over, use the explosive satchel because he knows for certain he can get this kill and get a reset onto his jump. But that's not even the most important part of this fight, because this is the part that actually gets set up next. You gotta watch for the Flash Nah ultimate that locks down 3 people. He gets a solo kill practically without the rest of his team, and that just enables his team to take down not only the other side, but also the turret.
Yeah, the part where WSU got back into the game and changed things up. But on the side of QUT, they forced a couple of big fights. The teamwork was so unanimous from WSU that QUT decided to switch it on as well.
Yeah, I mean, QUT, they were playing so amazingly in this game. You have to take a look at the late game, especially, and their decision-making. They could have gone for turrets. They could have gone for top. They could have gone for the Baron as well. But rather than that, they decide to play it safe. They go for the 100% rather than the 50-50s. They go straight for the base.
So in game number 2, QUT, I think their draft rate was absolutely fine. Flick was on point with that Gragas. Like, this guy is an experienced veteran, but not always in the jungle. Like, he's in the top lane usually. But have you noticed something, Preacher? He plays top lane champions in the jungle.
Wow, it's almost as if this meta enables a whole lot of flexibility between top and jungle champion pools. The Gragas, the Maokai, the Cho'Gath.
And what has he played? All of them.
Yep. Yeah, it's a conspiracy in the making, ladies and gentlemen, but he's also looked really fine doing so. When it gets to late game, his mechanics are on point because he's already got the experience behind him how to play the champion. When it comes to the early game, he brings his expertise to the game in shot calling for his team.
And you can see how much of an impact that has for QUT. Having that strength of a shot caller in Flick, having that strength of a mechanically great jungler in Flick. In game number 2, maybe Gragas has to come up to the agenda. Maybe we have to start looking at how easily QUT drafted such an easy composition.
But they also have to take a look at their ban phase, because if they ban away a Sejuani once more, I'm curious to see whether it's a Mundo on the side of Western Sydney University or whether they go for something else. Did the Mundo succeed in the last game? Sorta. Early game, it worked because of the challenging smite. Downside of challenging smite, it's 45 seconds as opposed to 15-second cooldown. You can't really get it up too often. We've got to take a look at it.
All right, Preacher, look. As funny, as much as I want to laugh at what you just said, Rakan is the first ban. Mundo goes where he pleases, but a lot of the time it's not on Summoner's Rift.
Hopefully not on this Rift.
So, boosted account is a Sejuani player.
Yes.
I really think he can play other things than Sejuani. I just feel like Mundo was a stylized pick, and it's something that isn't going to get them the win, especially when you have a composition that has to press the go button, and if Mundo is blocked by terrain, I don't have flash.
Yep. And another huge thing that you got to watch out for is the holistic team composition between both of these two teams. QUT now coming in on the blue side, Western Sydney University coming in on the red side. One thing that you got to watch out for that I personally think would be a huge pickup for Western Sydney University in their first rotation is a Galio, because Galio has fell out of priority for a very long time. But the upside of it is that you have a tank at the mid lane as well as the top lane. It frees up boosted account, also known as Joe, to potentially go for something like a Nidalee, which he is proficient on, as opposed to the Mundo.
So banning away that Galio could have been a really good move for WSU, but first pick Gragas again. We know that can be a flex. We know that Tekka can play that. We know that he, in the past, has played something like the Galio and the full front line tanks in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, that Gragas is just so solid. I don't really know whether it's going to go into the top lane or the jungle. Could go into
Flick was fine with it. I don't think there's anything... Is there any reason you don't play Gragas in the jungle? Just a better top lane matchup?
There are some matchups in which he succeeds in. There are a whole lot in which he doesn't, simply because of his uneven trading patterns. He did get hit a little bit in terms of the nerf bat, so we really do need to look out for what the other side pick, as opposed to what their team pick.
Well, the response is Rek'Sai, okay. Yeah. So sending boosted account on Rek'Sai this time, a standard jungler there.
Very standard. Only downside is that now it's very AD leaning, so you sort of peg your mid laner into going for a magic dealer. Now, last game, Beats did pick up the Talia, which was really good. But it's sort of the situation in which you think, yeah, I'm all right on magic dealers, but you're sort of forcing me into the situation.
I think Beats, look, won't mind. In the past, he has played the Lucian mid, but that's definitely going to, like you said, peg him off of that champion. The Lulu picked up and the Tristana for Feint. And I'm going to say, so far in the competition, Feint has proved to be one of the best AD carries here. He's probably one of the ones we've seen the most so far. And the fact that he gets his rise, you know, he gets his... not in the champion, his rise to fame.
Yeah,
right?
rise to fame.
Yeah. And he gets so much opportunity to show how he's one of the best AD carries in the comp. Is great because now he's on the Tristana and he can close this with a 2-0 if he gets ahead.
And he also has the support behind him on the form of Iggy. Now, last game, Iggy rushes Sightstone, which is a little bit to see. We see a lot of supports instant rush to Ardent Sensor. But speaking of Ardent Sensor, on the other side, Thresh usually doesn't build it at all. Now, Kindred is a really good Thresh. He hits a whole lot of his hooks that we've seen in the round robin. However, when you take a look at the whole composition matching against each other, you got to really be wondering, who exactly are you hitting on the side of QUT? Because Tristana can outplay it. If she uses a W right on the same frame as Thresh hits her with the hook, she still jumps out of it anyway. So it's a cute little interaction that happens in that sense, and it makes the whole interaction a little bit harder.
But what's the window? Is it 0.25 seconds and then?
It's shorter than that. It's much shorter than Ezreal E. I know that for absolute certain. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but you can still do it. The fact is, you'd have the ability to outplay it.
Yeah, it's that small window that Threshers have really proven their might. The final ban is Syndra. Okay, so Cassiopeia, Vladimir, and Gnar off the board. That means that we are focusing a lot on the mid laners this game. I think Unspecialized should be fine with that, however, because, I mean, his Lucian is still open. Whether they want to go for a double AD carry comp again.
Yeah, but if you go for a double AD composition, usually that pegs your top lane into going something AP heavy like a Rumble, and that all of a sudden makes your entire team composition extremely unstable because it forces the Gragas to be the primary engage tool. Not that Flick doesn't like that, but it simply means they don't really have any other choices. I don't really know what this is. Is this sort of like...
It's lethality, but...
No, it's looking over on the other side saying, hey, your name is Jace. You know which champion has the same name?
Let's do it. Let's just take it.
Oh, my.
Called out.
Yeah, absolutely called out. But this Jace could also be in the mid lane. We haven't seen him too much in the top lane. I quite like him in the mid lane. I think his highest percentage play rate is in the mid lane because he has a whole lot of versatility in terms of going the tier first into the lethality, or even the Black Cleaver. So I would like to see that be the route.
But straight away, it looks like that idea could be shut out as Oriana gets locked in, and that is going to be Tekka pulling up the Jace.
Okay, so the immediate problem that we see facing QUT is the fact that they don't have a solid front line. They have Flick on the Gragas once more, but now Tekka going on something that's much more damaging than tanky. I fear for them because you have to cast your mind back to last game. Tekka's Maokai was monumental in QUT's victory. He was the primary engage tool. Flick, while he did do secondary engage, his primary role was using the casts.
Ooh, Twisted Fate on beats.
Oh, baby. Who does the same thing as Talia? Twisted Fate. He uses the ultimate to roam down.
To a degree, yes.
Doesn't cut people off, but he does get himself onto another portion of the map. And this is the pick that I want to talk about. Hysterics, this is my soapbox, so
can I just say, before you go into this,
yes.
Right? Did I say, can I just hear?
No, you said, can I just say?
Okay, good. I don't know. I was worried about my words. I put this same question to Mendrix. I'm like, because we saw a Twisted Fate at one point, right? I said, Mendrix, I said, this has been a real big pocket pick. Mendrix is like, no, it hasn't. Disagreed. Tell us why.
Because Twisted Fate got buffed last patch. Yeah, he got buffed so that he has 5% more movement speed. Now, you might be saying that's a little bit, that's a little bit of a strange number, but that actually patches him up and keeps him up to date with a whole lot of other mid laners. And when you're comparing mid laners to ADCs, mid laners to supports as well, all of a sudden, you have more movement speed than the enemy pound for pound. If your enemy get boots, you get boots as well. You're still faster than them. That is one of the upsides of Twisted Fate. Regardless of whether he used red card or gold card, he's always going to have the ability to chase after you.
I mean, considering that he doesn't really have a gap close apart from his ultimate, it's important.
Of course it's important. Bigger than that, it's also going into both Lulu and Tristana. Lulu, somebody who can knock you up if you dash on top of their ADC. One thing that you got to look out for on TF is that he stuns from range. He doesn't actually need to get closer to Tristana, so while there is a wild growth available for the Tristana, it won't knock anybody up. It won't disable anybody on the other side. It just grants health and nothing else.
End of the day, it is going to be double cleanse coming through. So this is the one concern, is that Twisted Fate may land a gold card, but the cleanse is going to be used. The other upside to that is that gold card is so readily available that it's not going to matter, and that a simple cleanse is going to be burnt for about 3 or 4 of these members.
And even more importantly than that, if you use your cleanse on a gold card, then it frees your team up to get a thresh hook down. If you use the cleanse on a thresh hook, all of a sudden it frees up the gold card. So there are multiple points of CC on the side of Western Sydney University. And as an absolute failsafe, if everything gets cleansed because you muck up and you use all of your CC at the same time, then there's still a knockup from the Rek'Sai readily available. We know for absolute certain the boosted account does play this Rek'Sai.
But playing a little bit more dangerous, I want to come back to the compositions because QUT, again, have been very dangerous with their selection in this second game. The Oriana, the Jace, I mean, this is going to be harder to execute. This is not the easy 1-2 with Maokai. It's not the easy engage, followed up by, okay, let's just let everyone go to ham. Sure, the bottom side of the map isn't too hard, but the Jace, I think, just sits up there as, will this work for Tekka?
Thanks for bringing that up, because I wanted to talk about the composition between the Jace and also the Renekton. So while Jace does have the range, so he'll always have the ability to bully out Renekton, paired with the fact that Jace goes lethality earlier, Renekton builds some damage in the form of the Black Cleaver, Titanic Hydra, so he doesn't really go for tank until much later on in the game. There is one distinct downside of Jace's trades into Renekton. First and foremost, Renekton could use his double dash, his slice and dice, to catch up to Jace, to stun him, to do all of that good stuff. Second of all, the only disengage potential potential that Jace has is with his E, with his hammering blow, knocking Renekton back. But he can never use the to the skies portion of his combo unless it's to actually execute Renekton. Because as soon as you use it, Renekton's just going to turn on you and he's going to fight you in melee form, something that Jace doesn't really specialize in. So while there is the advantage for Tekka coming out in this game in terms of range, the fight potential doesn't really exist because you're maxing Q first and you can't use it in hammer form.
Yeah, the added bonus of sustain. Renekton has sustain. Jace does not.
No.
Jace has a low mana pool.
Yep.
If you go for the tier, you divert away from that lethality rush.
Exactly, yeah. If you go for the tier, then you don't have HP, you don't have armor, you don't have lethality, you don't have AD. You literally don't have any tank stats in order to combat Renekton. The only thing that you got going for you if you go for tier is about 10 QE shock blaze.
So does that
shock
instantly
blasts.
mean Flick spends all the time up top?
Naturally, you'd have to assume so because this can be a huge point of focus for both of these two junglers. Both Jace and Renekton are extremely volatile. As soon as level 6 rolls around, I think that the advantage goes over to Renekton simply because he gets an ultimate power spike. Jace doesn't. You can't rank your ultimate anymore. You have to put another point into your W, so all of a sudden it's a very awkward position in which you say, I'm not going to use my hyperdrive anyway because it's still less than 100% of my auto attack damage despite the fact that there's 3 autos. So it's really difficult to execute.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think Jace at the moment is the one pick we're looking at. And as we do jump into game 2 shortly, you will see that WSU are on the they're on the red side. Yep. This time it's a cleaner composition. The Rek'Sai is better than Mundo.
It has a dash. It can get over walls.
It's a normal jungler.
It can traverse terrain.
It's not Mundo.
It can gank early. The only one downside is that you probably won't go challenging smite, so you can't 1v1.
No, it's a problem, isn't it?
No. Honestly, no, because you take a look at the effect that it had on last game. Mundo got 1 kill early, and you might take a look at it and say, wow, snowballing factor.
Here
This Mundo could get so ahead. Got the Balmy Cinder, literally didn't do anything with it.
No, walked around the jungle and was waiting for something to happen. Look, Boosted Account is a very proactive jungler, though. You know, we've seen this in game 1. We've seen it in the past. I've seen it in the past. Joe really likes to move around the enemy jungle, and he will go for an invade. With the Mundo, it wasn't his playstyle, or at least it didn't feel like it. And now that we're seeing him on the Rek'Sai, something that I have seen him play before, something that should be played a lot, is now going to be appearing on Summoner's Rift. QUT versus QUT.
Whoa.
2 QUTs.
Whoa! Conspiracy. Dun-dun-dun-dun.
I reckon QUT will win this one.
You reckon?
No, I think...
Wow, that's a really bold call, dude.
I think it'll be 1-1 QUT.
Yeah?
Yeah. Then we'll go to game 3. I'm a QUT?
No. Very strange.
QT Reapers.
All right. Before we even get onto the Rift, before we even talk about anything important... I've been beaten to the punch. 2 coins. Both support starts coin. I actually quite like that coming out from Thresh.
Better than yesterday.
Yeah, it's much better. Because yesterday we actually saw compositions go something like a double Relic Shield. You have a Taric on Relic, and on the other side, you have a Thresh on Relic Shield as well. I don't really think that gives you too much of sustain, especially seeing as ADCs don't take the biggest amount of burst in the current meta. You have a Tristana and you have a Xayah, 2 champions who take a very long time to ramp up in terms of their damage, both because of the Satchel Bomb and also because of the feathers that you need to put down. They could just ignore each other in lane.
But again, look, it's so much better to see coin on Thresh. It is just such a strong item at the moment, and taking the Relic Shield hasn't really had any benefits for the Threshers I've seen. You add that extra sustain in lane, but the problem is you're going up against a Lulu who's going to negate all that damage anyway. So you're always going to be out-sustained to a point. Yeah,
exactly. And it's really the sustain factor that you have to argue. Will Relic Shield give you enough HP that you need in order to get through the lane? You don't even need it. Take a look at Sem. He started with a Doran Shield early on. Not only does it mean that he doesn't want to trade when it comes to the 2v2 naturally, but it also means that he simply wants to stay healthy, something that he is extremely in a good position to do so because of the items.
But early starts from both these junglers will take them to Raptors and then to Red. And Boosted is going to be a little bit quicker, you'd have to feel, on this Red. But he's going to have to smite this, obviously.
Obviously. I mean, that's not too much of a downside. You're not exactly punishing a Rek'Sai.
No, why is Flick going left and right?
I don't know. I think that this is really strange because pretty much in every single game that we've seen so far in the OUC. No bot lanes have been giving the priority to their jungler and giving the mega leash so far, in which, of course, the bottom lane starts red and the jungler starts on the Raptors. But here comes a very early gank top. Beats actually moved up.
This is a boot start from Twisted Fate. The flash has already been forced out. It'll be good enough. Twisted Fate goes roaming. He finds a flash.
Mate, this is what I'm talking about.
You were right. He started with Beats, though.
Yeah.
Boots.
Beats started with boots. Beat, boot. Got the extra movement speed. That's what I'm talking about. I love TF.
4 pots, Boots going against an Orianna with Doran's ring.
Wow, what a surprise.
What a surprise. Now, let's see who wins this lane, Preacher.
I actually quite like the early focus that Beats put down onto top lane because he knew that he had the boots for the roaming. He moved onto the top side and actually got taken down. What? Level
Rome
2?
City.
He's got a Q, he's got an E.
UWS, their support will be coming through the flay. He lands a death sentence. Gets a blue card. Lucky blue.
Yep.
I mean, let's be honest. You know, you would have had a cleanse burn.
No, yeah, exactly. So pretty much what you're looking for there is for the extra damage because blue card does the most damage out of TF. You're not looking to get the gold card because what follows the gold card? Nothing really. You don't have any other burst damage abilities. You've already used your 3-prong, whatever that is.
Now let's watch maybe a good gank. There's the flash instantly. Flick showing he's the better ganker than killed.
Yeah, this early game is a bit of a siesta.
A fiesta, you mean?
No, siesta.
Okay.
Because it's a snooze fest. Everybody's moving around the map, but nobody's actually getting any kills.
You sure? I saw a flash and
Ooh.
I see another one. Take it back, Preacher, right now as First Blood goes down to Flick.
Yeah, pop it out. That one was the fiesta that we needed to see. The return gate coming out from Flick. All of a sudden, he visits mid lane again. The flash body slam, almost impossible to outplay. Didn't outplay.
First item, Boots of Swiftness for Beats.
Oh, my boy. Oh, he's doing me proud. I can say
I
that
reckon
much.
he was listening. He's like, I'll show you the movement speed. I mean, he's fast, but Orianna goes back and gets a lost chapter.
Look,
There's sustained, there's damage.
The only thing that I would have liked more from Beats, and you're going to laugh at me for this,
Already am.
is if he took Ghost instead of Ignite.
He should have.
Yeah, he actually should have. TF's used to do it before because of his low movement speed.
Does he have wind speakers?
I doubt it. I think... No, you mean Storm Raiders.
That's all.
I doubt it. It's pretty stupid to get.
But look, Unspecialized is to level up. He's CS up as well. Look at this wave. He's going to be 10 CS ahead. Orianna's early game is pretty passive normally, but right now it's looking good. Boosted account has been called out by Flick. In the jungle, Gragas will win this one. Boosted account gets the help of Boots of Swifty. He's so fast, but in comes Orianna. Beats is going to take a punishing from this. Boosted has to flash. Oh, boy.
It was well played on the side of Flick to use his body slam as Boosted account used his burrow because it stopped his burrow. It meant that he didn't move anywhere. But over on the other side, Beats using a Boosted Swiftness to move and to help his jungler got him out to safety. You can laugh all you want at Boosted Swiftness, but tell me this. Did Boosted account die or not?
He did not. So I guess
it was
it
worth.
works.
It was worth. Because that would have been 300 gold over to the enemy team if he had died.
Okay, so Boots of Swiftness saved lives, kids. Remember to pick them up on your Twisted Fate first.
Rush it. It's like Aurelian Soul. You get it first because of the roams.
Do you actually?
Yeah, Aurelian Soul rushes it
That's
first.
right.
Yeah.
We haven't seen an Aurelian Soul in a while, and I know that Beats actually plays that champion too. He has a very diverse champion pool, as we do see a Flame Miss and a Flash Burn.
And that was the weirdest thing. The Lantern went over to get Boosted account in, but he used his tunnel rather than taking the Lantern. That's extremely strange, because then he could have used his tunnel to get even further ahead, but he chooses not to do it, and the Mastery Emo gets pinged.
WSU in this first game, you know, I think... Preacher, let's be honest, like there's a lot of misplay, but there's a lot of opportunities. They're trying to push the trigger. They're trying to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I get what all my analogies of things
Yes,
go
correct.
the wrong way.
Yes, I agree.
No, it's not correct. You don't agree.
Wrong. Here we go, level 6.
Tekka in a bit of trouble. This is what we talked about with Jace in the top lane.
Yeah, as soon as level 6 rolls around for both of them, Renekton gets a huge advantage with the Dominus. Absolutely nothing in return for Jace. It's literally another level up that you can't use on your Q. You have to use it on your W as well, which means that it's more or less wasted because you're going for short-term engages.
But he's got 15 CS up. I mean, the Renekton was already winning this lane, and now Tekka is going to fall so much further behind, has a bit of lethality. But when Renekton goes back, this lane is his.
But when you take a look at the context of lethality in terms of Renekton, you got to ask, what exactly was Renekton going for? He hasn't quite picked up his Ninja Tabi, but the second that he gets his Ninja Tabi, it actually pretty much negates the flat lethality from the very first item that Jace rushes. So already, it's more or less punishing.
Cloth armor will be enough, though, right, for the meantime?
At the current moment, it's enough. Yeah, it's enough for the Serrated Dirk, and once the Serrated Dirk gets completed, here we go. Might not.
Tekka has 0 mana. Boosted account is going to take this one himself. Does a Rek'Sai feel like he can do the 1v1 or at least burn the flash?
Wait a second. Do you see what I see?
What?
Boosted account has gone for challenging Smite again.
No.
He wants the duels.
What rank is he in?
I have no idea. I'm going to be...
It's not Challenger.
I think he's Diamond.
Okay. So,
I'm not too sure which number.
So he's aiming for a goal, one that he desperately wants to obtain through Smite first and then through rank. LP's important, but so are Drake's. Let's look at this. Infernal goes over to QUT. Their early game has been so much more powerful in every way except the top lane.
Yeah, exactly. And this is just a complete reset of last year as well. But here we go.
Beats is fast. The cleanser's already been used. It's a benefit of the gold card. Boosted account can't get back in. And our Diamond 5 jungler of UWS, or WSU, sorry, is looking for more.
Yeah, so that was pretty much just... Oh, no, Flick. Wait a minute.
Body slams out, flashes, flash forward from Beats. They're committing to this kill. The Rek'Sai ultimate. Great explosive cast again. Shockwave for 3. But no way are you going to find the damage to follow up. Unspecialized should not have been there.
Yeah, that was an amazing shockwave. Unfortunately, there are uneven numbers. So after everything is said and done, the lack of AP that was available for Unspecialized, there wasn't enough scaling on the shockwave. And the side of Western University take him down.
And Beats gets the kill, Preacher. Beats gets the kill.
So from here on in, he can rush a Rod of Ages. I don't think he can complete it on this back, but he's still sitting comfortable. Yeah, 1,000 gold. He's looking for something like a Blasting Wand maybe to get that extra AP.
You'd hope so. I mean, unless he goes for the components of Righteous Glory. You know? What else gives you movement speed? Maybe a Phantom Dancer?
Are you literally going... You're on the full movement speed TF hype train.
I mean, it's not going to do damage. It's just annoying.
But the upside of TF in mid lane is the fact that as opposed to every other AP caster...
Rapid fire cannon.
Yeah. No. The upside of TF as opposed to every other mid laner is the fact that he doesn't have to go any mana regeneration items at all. Because he has blue cards, so he has infinite sustain in the form of that. He could just go for straight damage for straight stats. Here's the ult!
Twisted Fate ult. Killed already takes half of his health. Unspecialized doesn't have Shockwave. Rek'Sai misses the Prey Seeker. That's big. The gold card to follow up. Oh boy, if Prey Seeker hit there, that was dead.
Yeah, but that ultimate used in the mid lane effectively means that QUT's bot lane know that they can go extremely aggressive. Not available for TF, no roaming available for TF. They could just push this turret, and you should never give pushing advantage to a Tristana, who naturally gets it in this 2v2, simply because of the push that Lulu can also provide for them. So if there's no jungle assistance, if there's no top lane assistance in the bot lane, then you have to imagine that QUT win.
But they're still going for it. Faint rocket jumps out. Guess who's here? It's Beats again. Gets the gold card, forces the flash. It'll follow through. Beats with his movement speed will not find Iggy, but forcing those summoners was more important.
Yeah, he looks so fancy as he step-sides his way out of that one.
Flick on the boosted account once again. Okay, is explosive cask up? Yes, it is. The shockwave hits nothing. Really, Flick still forcing the engage. Orianna, how does she play this? Saves the life for now, but boosted account is not done. Orianna with the dissonance doesn't get Thunderlords. Flash forward, and these summoners are getting burnt left, right, and center by this Twisted Fate.
Every single time that a gold card connects, it's a cleanse, it's a flash, it's a summoner spell, and this is so punishing over for Unspecialized, because while normally Orianna has the wave control simply because of the ball positioning, because of the aggression that she can use in command attack, there's not too much that she can do when she doesn't have summoners in comparison to the Twisted Fate. Now, NL Beats doesn't have summoners either, but his Ignite is coming up, and that's potent.
Potent's a good word for a preacher. And Beats is forcing these summoners. Cleanse is back up and available. Unspecialized gets hit with 1 gold card. And you don't know the follow-up. That's the thing. That's the beautiful thing about Rek'Sai Twisted Fate, is you don't know where the follow-up is, because it can be instantaneous.
Yeah.
We know that ultimate, you hit a Prey Seeker, and Rek'Sai's coming.
Yeah, and you also don't know where the follow-up from Kildanus is either, because that Thresh is roaming so much. Ooh.
Wow, okay. Tekka actually outputting some damage now with the Caulfield's Warhammer.
But he's so low on mana. That's the downside of not going tier. Yeah, you can burst out the Renekton, but you can't do it again because you already ran out of mana from your very first combo.
This turret almost goes down. The rush for that first turret blood, important for both of these teams. And look at this, boosted account has come bottom. Where is the response from Flick?
Well, both of these two teams, they want to prioritize the first brick. That's what they're going towards, but the Buster Shot saves his turret for now.
And they're making sure it doesn't happen. Flick is front-lining this one. He's going to get knocked up, but he has to play this carefully. As Fate and Unspecialized help clear the wave, they're pushing forward, and they're looking to get this chip all the way down to 0.
So this might actually be extremely dangerous. TF does have ultimate, so he can join the bot lane to make it an ultimate 5v5, but there's a teleport coming in. Jace is teleporting down.
Jace comes first. Tekka needs to respond instantly. The Twisted Fate ultimate Destiny is there.
5-man.
The stun. Orianna hasn't really put any damage into this fight just yet. This is looking good. Good for WSU. Sorry, Preacher. As another kill goes through. I've lost my voice, Preacher. It's okay. We're still coming back.
You found
the fight has reset with Joe going down. Feint has just cleaned this one up. And instantly, 3 kills, make it 4. Feint is resetting, almost takes down the Xayah, but it's good enough.
That was intense hysterics. You got to take a look at the whole team fight that just happened. 4 members of QUT converse down onto the bottom side as opposed to 3 from the side of Western Sydney University. All of a sudden, TP comes down from Western Sydney University. Ultimate comes down from TF, the Destiny, to allow him to come down into the bot lane, but the teleport from Tekka was so well placed on the low members of UWS, and they pick up 5.
And I'll tell you what, this is the second day in a row Feint has taken my breath away and my voice. Resets, control, and in these fights, his positioning is crucial. Unspecialized hits. Was it small shockwave, we could say there?
It was a minuscule one.
Minuscule. Okay, let's go with minuscule. End of the day, though, it's about Flick. It's about Feint, how they're working together. It's working right now for QUT. Gold is at a point where QUT can be comfortable, but they can't be safe.
And they're going for the engage once again.
The flash forward, no cleanse available. This isn't a dead Orianna. And I didn't want to say it, Preacher, but I think the Twisted Fate's working.
It's working tremendously. The Rod of Ages already stacked up. He's going for his Lichbane next for the 5% movement speed bonus that you get on it, as well as, of course, the synergy that naturally comes with a Twisted Fate Lichbane. Now they're going for the Dragon because, of course, that is the next objective available right after they take down the Orianna. And you got to imagine that on the side of QUT, while they do have the comprehensive 5v5 teamfight strategy, that these picks are weird.
Preacher, they've rotated the bottom lane up so much quicker, so although they get the Ocean Drake, that slower rotation and prioritizing that neutral objective means that they've pulled themselves up top and they are putting so much damage towards this turret, they might get a free turret.
But Jace is actually doing really well for himself because this is still Renekton's domain. 0-1-1, not a real...
I don't think we can call him Jace in this game, Preacher. It's going to confuse everyone.
All right, so we're going to call him by the champion
Let's
names?
call Renekton.
Right, yeah.
Jace is Tekka.
Great. Okay, so Renekton in this fight is still going to have the natural advantage because he's reached level 11. That means second rank on his dominance. Even though he's 0-1-1, he still has a whole lot of power to 1v2 against the bottom lane of QUT. Will he win? Probably not, but he does have the survivability potential, so he can actually hold the minion wave at bay for quite a long time, along with his push as well. So it's all good in that sense. Over on the bottom side, though, you got to take a look at this pick.
Forcing the explosive cask nice and early. A pick onto the Thresh will be great here. It might even open up the top lane.
Yeah, the top lane is more or less open at this point, simply because there are uneven numbers to really defend it. Beats can't necessarily move up to the top side because everyone is getting caught.
Again, catching out the Xayah. Flick is going to brunt so much damage, but look at that, the root misses in its entirety. We'll find the stun, maybe not good enough. Destiny to come through. Ultimate from boosted account. They're committing everything to Flick. The gold card, but the wild growth is there. The shielding, the help. the turret will go down at the committance of so much, and another turret to follow.
But so that's the downside of leaving a Jace alone with a turret. His hyperdrive is so strong. It's his W that you max second pretty much as soon as you get it to rank 3 or higher. He's doing 100% of his auto attack damage with 2.5 attack speed for his next 3 auto attacks. Do not leave him alone with a turret, because that is the result that you just saw on your screen. Not only is there a turret down on top, but also a mid.
Feint almost caught window shopping. Rift Herald going to be the next on the list. So WSU, although they are 4K gold behind, they're picking up these neutrals. They're keeping a lot of priority on vision. And this is good. This is going to enable them to maybe break their first turret.
This is a twofold Herald. So first and foremost, they get it for themselves, but second of all, they deny it from QUT as well, because QUT have broken down all 3 turrets, all 3 outer turrets on the side of Western University. So you got to imagine that their next priorities were on the Herald to break down the inners. If they ever got it, then it would have been dire straits for the side of UWS, but they actually managed to defend themselves.
Still good work from QUT in Game 2. Baron up in 2 minutes. You can see we had a reasonably early Baron in the last game, but a reasonably smaller game.
Very small.
As well in G1. No one ever says that, I know.
No,
I'm trying
that's
to set
weird.
trends. You're weird.
Thanks.
Great preacher food. Man, I tell you what, sometimes our banter's good, and then sometimes we just...
Sometimes we hit your banter. Sometimes it's ours, sometimes it's yours.
Yeah, look, in real life, I'm a lot better.
Oh, okay.
What real life? What is this?
Whoa, we're playing some League of Legends right here. One thing that you need to pay attention to is the vision denial that's coming out from UWS right now, because they're frantically trying to remove all of the eyes they possibly can from QUT, make them blind, make them susceptible to a TF gank. He tried to clear the wave.
He tried to also hit Rift Herald before it used the ult.
No, he tried to hit beats. So to cancel beats from summoning it, but he didn't.
No, a little bit too late. Unspecialized, no shockwave now. They know this. Feint is sitting in the jungle trying to proc out, or at least burn something from boosted account. Level 10 Rek'Sai will still get away, and QUT forcing themselves mid, still ready to fight.
Yeah, QUT are definitely in a good position to fight, especially seeing as Rift Herald was now removed from UWS. There's absolutely no threat of a split lane, a different lane pushing. Now you got to imagine that Beats should be placing himself on the side, ready to flank the side of QUT.
But look at this, they're sieging up the inner so easily. Trying to force on the side is the Renekton. But look at this, Orianna the force from Flick. Need the explosive cast, booster count goes in. Orianna picks up one, almost dying again. But it is going to be the simple one. The flash forward, double kill easily. The outplay from QUT.
And now QUT are sieging so far up. This is the downside of University of Western Sydney's priority when it comes to their champion picks. If this was a 1-3-1 or a 1-4 that was being executed by QUT, UWS can definitely go and collapse on them. But because it's not, because it's a 5-man unit, TF has very little power.
And look at this, QUT earlier in the game are just picking up kills left, right, and center. 7,000 gold, Baron live. The Mountain Drake is coming up. They've already got an Infernal, and for a team that likes to fight and can easily siege, there are no better dragons that are going to fall into their lap.
They can go, they can back, and they can finally get the power spikes that they're desperately looking towards. But TF ultimate comes through. He just wants to farm. He doesn't want too much of this action. Going back to the point, QUT, they should be getting a whole lot of vision down on the Infernal Drake and actually ignoring the Rift Herald, because, the Baron, sorry, because at the current moment, Baron is not an objective that UWS can necessarily sneak. They don't have a Blade of the Ruined King user. They don't have percentage damage. Their damage is low overall from the team, so it's definitely not something they can go for.
I think at the moment, Flick is just outplaying boosted account. I mean,
yes,
Joe is not picking up these scuttle crabs. Flick is constantly outsmiting them. Flick is a level ahead. His camp clear has just been so much more efficient, and his presence on the map has been so much more widespread and diverse. Where you look at boosted account, okay, I'm focusing mid. Where is he? I'm mid.
Yeah, I'm willing to agree with you on that circumstance, and another reason why I would prioritize Flick over boosted account is simply because of the way the boosted account views the game. He understands jungle more as a 1v1 capability where he can get a whole lot of resource for himself. You can see that exemplified by the fact that he goes to challenging smite as opposed to tracker's smite. Free Dragon going over to QUT.
Well, the bottom lane takes it themselves, Preacher. Ward going to be way too late. Next one's going to be Mountain 2. Oh boy, for QUT and a controlling game to take this out in a 2-0 and put themselves into the finals for the OUC, they are looking comfortable to do so. And all it takes is one more big team fight. The base will get even more broken, and that 6K could easily jump.
But while we are talking about that, the next natural objective is, of course, the Baron for QUT. There's nothing else that's really on the map. There are 2 inner turrets still standing on either of the sideways, but that's all minor stuff. Worst case scenario, you can just move Tekka down to the bottom side, which is what they already have done, in order to clear this wave and push it up towards the turret and try to go for the Baron bait. But the natural downside of that is the fact that Beats can always collapse on him with the Destiny, and that is something that must be in Tekka's mind.
Positioning around the Baron, getting wards clear. Iggy has to drop a control. Okay, get rid of one. There's still one back there, so WSU know what's going on. As they push up the mid wave, as Supers start to streamline in at 22 minutes. Another force coming through. Great wait from Flick. He'll send them back. And this is the positioning of Flick that we praise all the time. Feint's trying to walk forward. The Xayah kiting back, but Feint will get the last auto attack, and all because of Flick.
And that was just really great zoning coming out from Flick to really enable Feint to get the kill. But now they finally turned their attention towards the Baron because it's an uneven fight, but they're really low, and they're taking MR from the Baron.
And they've left that super minion and another wave to roll up mid. They can play for time, they can disengage, but they're just going to commit. Destiny on the back of the pit, Shockwave back in. Ooh, waste time. Flick trying to find another engage, but it'll be good enough because QUT had picked up that Baron.
And that was really strange to see the Destiny used from Beats in that particular position. It was over the wall. There's not really anything that he can do in order to steal the Baron. He should have just kept it. He should have just used it into the mid lane, told the rest of his team to disengage. It was very fortunate that the Shockwave only hit Renekton and didn't really do too much damage, didn't catch him out, didn't disable him in any significant way. Because if it had caught more than one, then that could have potentially just been game for UWS.
Right now, UWS or WSU, whichever way you like to put it, are just in a big deficit, and it is looking worrisome for them at 24 minutes into this game. A 2-0 here for QUT will look good. They've run the gauntlet. They've come out of that epic third-place position.
And they look like they're challengers going into University of Western Australia. But if you take a look at the sheer gold advantage, nearly 10,000 gold over UWS, that's enough for every single one of these players to repay their Hex debt, and they're going straight into UWS.
Preacher, it's important. I mean, it's expensive.
Yeah, it is. But they're making up for it in this game. Take a look. This is a monumental amount of gold.
Exactly right. I mean, if you're 10k gold up on life, you'd be pretty happy. Another turret to fall down, more to follow as Baron minions will continue the siege, and QUT have to worry about where this Jace is because of split pushing power, and right now how big Tekka is going to be the biggest problem.
But there's always the chance for Twisted Fate to use Destiny on the split pushing Jace. Now, Flick's in the base. What are you doing, mate?
He's not taking too much damage. Flick, not worried, gets to half health.
What?
And he's out.
Okay. He manages to get out to absolute safety as they break the turret.
They're continuing to siege, but look at this. The burst damage coming through. Flick will body slam in. Great timing. This could be it. Two-man Shockwave. It's enough. Flick will finally die. But at what cost, chat? At what cost? Beats will be next. The Tristana's big. Boom! Goes the Weasel. And Feint will pick up yet another. Is this enough to end?
Well, there are only 3 members up for QUT compared to the 2 from UWS, but they are the 3 who can push a lot. It is an Orianna. It is a Jace with W. They can most certainly go for the objectives.
Inhibitor goes down, make it 2. Top lane turret is going to be next, or we go for the Nexus turrets. They're trying to force the end, or at least get some chip damage. There's only one teleport, and Tekka's already here. One Nexus turret goes down, Preacher, and they're not stopping.
Yeah, they want to go for more, but here's the engage from Jace.
Orianna uses the cleanse, picks up one. Tekka gets an instant kill, but he's going to be in trouble as boosted account is following the chase. Wait for the unburrow. The Destiny has to be used, but who's it going to be used on? It's on the Orianna. Great wild growth. They're kiting back. A big fight for UWS. It won't win them the game, but it'll be a start. As Unspecialized says, no way. Ultimate from Rek'Sai. Shockwave on the Orianna. Unspecialized outplay by Orianna. That's a big moment for his career. They're not done. Flick will chase it up. Jace is in so much trouble, and the retribution from UWS does not exist, with big outplays and QUT in a long fight.
Unspecialized outplaying 3 people, taking down 2 in his wake as he manages to get out to safety. Are you kidding me? Now the rest of his team have so much room to barrel down into the base.
And what a competition has been for QUT to come this far, to bring themselves up in this gauntlet, to go up against the 2nd seed of UWS and get taken down here. QUT will take the series in a very convincing 2-0.
And you gotta be quaking in your boots if you are University of Western Australia, because QUT, the 3rd place team coming into this gauntlet, has now 2-0 twice in 2 best-of-3s.
That's right, they go straight to the grand final now and will be fighting UWA. QUT have popped off in this series so far. And I tell you what, Unspecialized, yes, there were some good parts of the game, but at the end, that outplay running all the way back to the mid lane, that was it.
It was insane. His micro to really get the outplay onto 3 people to kill 2 people as he manages to get to safety, completely bonkers. But this really highlights what this team has in terms of a threat for every other team that is participating in this competition, because all of their individual members are so mechanically strong from the core. But even bigger than that, the way that they play as a 5-man unit, the way that they prioritize objectives, the calls they make with Flick leading the helm, not necessarily in terms of engaging teamfights, although he did run into the base at the end of the game, but also just leading them into victory. The sum of their already great parts is even greater.
And it was so much on Feint, Unspecialized, who were dealing out the damage yet again. Look, Feint has yet to not impress me. Tekka as well.
That's
the
bonkers.
silent partner up in that top lane.
It's absolutely crazy because we didn't really keep our eye on him. We thought that there were going to be a lot of problems coming into this game, but it even highlights his ability more when you see just how safely and cautiously he took this matchup. He didn't take any uneven fights that he didn't need to into Renekton, funnily enough, named Jace, but he also didn't split push beyond his means to the point where he can get collapsed on by TF's Destiny. He was always in the right place. He was never caught out, and that really was one of the things that led his team to victory.
Especially since you're talking about that Renekton-Jace matchup in the top lane, and it was the Renekton going, no, he should be fine here. He should win this. The Jace should struggle. No. That wasn't a struggle at all.
No, I mean, Tekka pretty much moved backwards every single time, which is the one problem that a whole lot of Jace players have. Sometimes they go forwards, all of a sudden delivers them into the hungry mouth of the crocodile, but instead he decides to move backwards, expertly placed, but also the fact that he just didn't fight at all. As soon as Renekton reached level 6, that's another key point.
Looking at the bigger picture here, Preacher, I love how our standings have shaken up, and at the end of the day, Western Sydney University, although second, will be defeated by QUT, who've jumped up in that 2nd spot and will be taking on UWA in the grand finals live on September 9th from Riot Games Studio. WSU getting beaten 2-0. I mean, it's kind of been the story of the regionals coming into the nationals. These 2-0s left, right, and center, apart from our match A between UOA and RMIT. But I think at the end of the day, UWA have to be really cautious on how they approach QUT.
Most certainly, because if history is anything to dictate what will happen this year, QUT, they made it all the way last year, and this time they finally make it to the finals again. Is that fluke? Is that coincidence? I don't think so from the last 2 performances they've shown.
And we're going to find out on September 9th. However, guys, if you are looking to get involved with the UniLol, of course, it is very important and it is a great way to hone your skills. Make sure you ask your local university, or the university you go to would probably be more appropriate. Go to a different university, be like, I'm looking forward to signing up.
No. Another thing that you can do, of course, is you can go onto the League of Legends directory and you can find your university's club.
Of course, but that is it from us until, of course, we go to the grand finals, and I will be watching from home or wherever I am, Preacher, to see UWA taking on QUT. It's bye for now, not forever. We'll see you next time.